Hello everybody, welcome back. Now this week we're talking all about whales, and in particular we're talking about whaling, which is a time when some of the whales on Earth were almost driven to extinction, and we are very fortunate to be with Bea again. How are you?
Good, Gavin, how are you?
We are very good, thank you so much. Now, where are we exactly?
We are in Grytviken, which is a little bay in South Georgia, and Grytviken was home to one of the biggest whaling stations in the Southern Hemisphere in the early 1900s.
Now, I understand a man called Larsen built this whaling station here. Why did he build it? What was the demand?
Correct. So Carl Larsen used to be a whaler in the Northern Hemisphere, and he came as a captain down to Antarctica for an expedition and saw a potential for whaling down here. He saw many whales down here. So when he got back from that expedition, he went back to Argentina, and he told some pretty wealthy people in Argentina that there was potential for whaling down here. So some Argentinians funded the building of all of this, and Larsen brought all this machinery here from Norway, as well as personnel. And within a year, he put this whole place together.
I understand this is the first whaling station in the Southern Hemisphere. Talk about what would happen here on any given day. Now it's filled with grass and all these beautiful fur seals and pups everywhere. It's like a haven. But if we go back 100 years or so, what was it like here then?
So with that many whales around South Georgia at the time, so Grytviken was built in 1904, and in the first few years they harvested a lot of blue whales and fin whales. That's what we had in abundance here, especially blues and fin whales, okay? So there were a lot of families living here. The men who were working brought their families from Scandinavia to live here with them. And throughout the summer months, they would harvest the blues and the fins and other species as well. Even elephant seals were harvested here, and they would harpoon the whales out in the open and bring the whales into the bay using some really big machinery like winches and chains that we have all over the beach here. And they would drag the whale onto the beach and start processing them. So there's a big slipway over there. For some purposes, they would drag the whale all the way up there as well, and they would remove parts of the whale to process it.
Goodness me. And we can see this very big ramp here, very big chains around. When we talk about processing, we're talking really about killing the whale and then cutting it up and using it for different things. We've spoken about that earlier on, used for even things like candles. And it seems criminal now in this day and age, they would think of an animal such as the blue whale or the fin whale, and really, you know, its life would be over just because we needed a candle to light our rooms. Now, today this place is a museum. And when we come here, what have we learned from what happened here, and what the world needs to take note of going into the future?
The way I see it, Gavin, is when we turn a practice into an industry and we don't think through if that is sustainable or not. If animals are involved in this industry, they will perish if we overdo it, if we take more than we should or more than they have time to replenish. So we barely see blue whales in South Georgia these days. They take a long time to breed new calves. So the population of blue whales is slowly recovering, but not as quick as we wanted it to recover. So we really need to think through, especially when we are talking about a living being.
That's right. And what's beautiful now about this place, and as the children can hear at home, is we have all these wonderful animals here. The grass is growing and nature is reclaiming this land. So what did happen in the past was terrible, and we can't ever take that back, but we've learned from those mistakes, hopefully, and we're trying to turn the tide on that.
Correct.
Now this week, what we want you to do is have a real think about the practices that you have in your lives. Are the things you're buying sustainable? Are you recycling the paper that you use? Are you turning off the lights? Because every little thing that we do has a major impact on how the world works, and the world is yours. You are children of the world, and you will become the leaders of tomorrow, and you have maybe 100 years left to live on this planet, and your children's 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 children also want to have a sanctuary just like this, filled with leopard seals and whales and fur seal pups, just like we're seeing here today. So have a wonderful week, reflect on what you are doing, learn from the past and go into the forward with a really positive mindset. Pia, it has been beautiful to have you here.
Thank you, Gavin. It was a pleasure.
And we'll see you all next
See
week.
you guys.